A game after the Utah Jazz make every play imaginable in the final 90 seconds, they do the opposite tonight and fall to the Sacramento Kings. We're talking about it next on POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
David Locke along with Ron Boone after the Sacramento Kings defeat the Utah Jazz 121-117. Jazz had the lead in this fourth quarter. They had the lead going into the fourth quarter, got outscored by 6 in the quarter. Or actually, by the final number is they may have been outscored by 8 in the quarter, 31-23. Kind of collapsed down the stretch. Faced a really tired team today. I thought they had this one. Right? I thought there was no DeMar DeRozan, no Domantas Sabonis, no Malik Monk, 6 game in 9 nights, off a back end of a back-to-back, off an overtime, highly emotional game. I thought, and then the way the game went, where the Jazz fought through it, were right with it at halftime, took the lead in the third quarter, went on a big run, 10-0 run to start the third. I thought the Jazz had this game.
I definitely thought they had it. It's awfully hard to look at a ball game like this and think that one player can beat you. And obviously, Fox did it. He had one great night. But it just doesn't register, I think, the fact that he played so well enough to the point where the Jazz could not take advantage of a shorthanded team. I just really didn't like the way they closed the ball game out.
So they closed the game late with a bunch of weird plays. We'll dig into it. We dug into all the good ones the other night. So first thing that's happened is Keontae's playing off the ball now. So we're really a point guardless team now because Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson are trying to play point guard and they're not point guards. And so and it worked for Keontae. I mean, this gets really tricky, right? Because this really worked for Keontae. Keontae had his best offensive game we had in a while without the burden of being the ball handler. He shot 6 of 10 from the field. He had only 2 assists tonight. They were both kind of late. But so one of the plays, Colin Sexton drives in the middle lane, turns it over. I think it was my memory a little bit might have been a 4. I'd have to go back and watch it. I don't remember entirely. There were enough other plays in there that kind of were weird. He turns it over. Then Will Hardy drew up a really brilliant inbound play, which had John Collins catching at the elbow, 2 guys in the backcourt, and Lowry in the far corner. So that really John Collins was isolated in the middle of the floor, one-on-one. He caught it, turned baseline, and at that point, either John Collins finishes, which is one of the best finishers in the league, or they bring the guy up the corner. He hit it to Lowry for the 3. Well, John Collins, I think airballed the layup. He just missed by a mile. Then Lowry grabs the rebound that's going to give us a chance to stay in the game and drops it, kind of gets body bumped by, I guess, Keegan Murray, and then loses it out of bounds, and they review the call on that. And so the Jazz just really never gave themselves a chance late. And then even on the final inbound play where they needed a 3, they got totally discombobulated. The inbound pass from Keontae was having a hard time getting it in. He finally gets into Sexton. Sexton, with 7 seconds left, dribbles into the 2-point range, which he may not have had a choice. I'm not criticizing, but the minute you do that, it's an easy choice by the team to foul because there's nothing bad that can happen. And so then he scoops it out to Clarkson, and Clarkson gets fouled. So it was not a pretty post execution in the final 2 minutes, or they executed themselves, shall we say?
Yeah, you can outscore 31-23 in that fourth quarter, and it wasn't necessarily the turnovers. I just thought it was just poor execution, and the Jazz only turned it over 3 times in the fourth quarter. And they only gave up 4 points, but they were, for the most part, key turnovers that when it happened. But I thought it's the last, and I'm going back about 5 minutes, and I thought those last 5 minutes just wasn't what you expect. I wanted more ball movement. I thought we were playing a little bit more isolation in that fourth quarter, in the last 5 minutes anyway, with Jordan Clarkson and with Sexton. And just didn't get other guys involved.
There are some things that Jazz did really well tonight. You just alluded to one of them. They did not turn the ball over very much.
Yeah.
Now, I think they played a super tired team, and I think the data shows it. One, Sacramento wasn't hounding on defense, forcing turnovers. And the other thing is Sacramento was almost not in transition at all tonight. I think Sacramento was in transition about 5 or 6% of the possessions, which is the lowest number of any team, I think, in any game all year. The Jazz, obviously, we've talked about it ad nauseum. allow the most transition of any team in the league. So they cut down their low ball, but they also, Sacramento just wasn't running at all tonight.
Which should have been in the Jazz favor. The Jazz should have been running themselves. And I thought they played a half-court game there as well. And this is something that I thought that the Jazz were trying to get away from, playing half-court, pushing the ball up the floor, pushing it ahead, getting into something right away where you have a tremendous amount of ball movement. We didn't see that in that fourth quarter for sure.
The one tricky thing the Jazz ran into tonight is on guarding De'Aaron Fox is the Jazz built the entire game plan on seeing Sabonis. Sabonis had left the game the night before. About 8 minutes left. He gave the signal and signaled the bench his back was out, like I need out. But he came back into the game, played the final 4 or 5 minutes, played the overtime. So everyone kind of thought he was going to play tonight. Late news, he's not playing. The entire shoot-around report was what you're trying to do is prevent Sabonis from going on the roll to the basket and having his left hand as his downhill hand, because then he can play it and finish it. He can pass it. He can do things. If you can have, so you're willing to let De'Aaron Fox go left, because then that forces Sabonis to open up to his right hand. The other thing is that the Jazz defensive system is that at the top, force guys to go left. Everyone knows what's happening. You're building the foundations of defense. Problem is, De'Aaron Fox wants to go left
all the time.
And when Sabonis suddenly wasn't in the game, the reason to force him left wasn't there, and the Jazz had to play around with a bunch of different defenses kind of on the fly since they didn't shoot around, was not what they anticipated.
Yeah, and you should be able to make those adjustments though. And obviously they didn't have a secondary game plan to stop Fox, but at least you keep him from going to his left if possible. And he's crafty enough. And he just had one of those big nights. And I guess I'm a little frustrated with the way the Jazz finished the ball game off, but we play the Clippers tomorrow.
Would you like to talk more about this? Do you need some counseling?
Yeah.
Do you need a moment? Usually I'm the overly emotional freak show here. Are you okay?
Well, you get a shorthanded team. Jazz are at full strength.
Well, we're missing Walker.
Yeah. We're missing Walker.
You play a team that's without Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk on their 6th game in 9 nights on the back end of a back-to-back. You should beat them.
Absolutely.
I would agree. I think that I thought now, by the way, just so you know, Vegas had the FanDuel line had the Kings by 7. So we evidently are the only people. The people who were making money off this did not agree with us, Ron Boone. They felt as though they had the line at 7. They didn't actually have it as a close game.
So they did not adjust. Was that 7 earlier in the day?
No, that means it was probably 11, 12, 13, or 14 earlier. You okay?
Yeah.
Not really? You're a little frustrated with the final 5 minutes?
Yeah.
What's interesting, by the way, about your frustration in the final 5 minutes is we weren't actually great in the final 5 minutes against Dallas until we threw those two the pass and the pass to Collins, which might have been a deflected lob, and the pass to Collins on the bullet.
Yeah.
So we are still trying to figure this out, and I think it all stems back to that we really don't have a point guard on this roster right now that is handling the ball late in games and make it positive. Kyle Filipowski switching defense again, very successful. Switched on Fox, switched on Herter a few times, and that he looks really good doing that. And he had a pretty solid night again tonight in the starting lineup. 28 minutes, he finished with 9 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a plus 12 tonight. He was pretty solid.
Yeah, he's getting better and better. I mean, and I think more trustworthy out there on the floor. I'd like to see his free throws get better. 71% in college last year, and then missed a few of them here tonight. But he's getting, you can see his growth, and I think the confidence is definitely there as far as his play out there on the floor from the coaches.
All right, time to give reliability squares because our bus I just got leaves in 20 minutes. And I got to get everything up. Reliability squares tonight. Ron Boone, 25 points for Lowry Market and 9 of 10 for the free throw line. He gets one.
Absolutely.
Kyle Filipowski, 28 minutes, 9 points. We did the plus 12. We just did that. He get one?
Absolutely.
I'm going to go Keontae George, 6 of 10, 2 of 4 from 3, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. I didn't love some of his defensive stuff on De'Aaron Fox late when we put him on there. He was a -5, but I might, just because he's been shooting so badly, the fact he had a good shooting night, give him a reliability square.
Let's do that
Plus.
and not give one to Jordan Clarkson. I thought Jordan Clarkson got out of control.
Okay, that sounds fun. You're still upset about the final 5 minutes, aren't you?
Yeah. Clarkson at 17. Yeah, also had 5 assists, 30 minutes, 7 for 18 from the field.
Do you have anybody else you want to give a reliability square? I'm going to let you get off the air. By the way, when he's 78 years old and he's going to say something that loses his job over the final 5 minutes of the 12th game of a year about development, it's going to be awesome. We're done. See ya. Have a great night. Go to wherever you want to go to. We'll be back tomorrow night. See ya.